Welcome to Conversations from Stritch. Today is Thursday, December 5th. I'm Dr. David Livingston, president of Lewis University, and I'm joined by Dr. Christopher Sant, our provost. I hope everyone had a fun, restful, really restful, I hope, because the next 2 weeks are challenging Thanksgiving break. It was great. I was able to get away to go to Cincinnati. It was a really nice weekend, but it's been good this week, just the first couple days, talking to a few people about their time away with their family and their cooking or their eating or whatever they enjoyed. This week has been incredibly busy, as the last couple weeks of the semester always are. We had multiple college department recognition ceremonies, pinning ceremony for the nursing department, graduating senior ceremony for the College of Business and for Coast. We had an SAC town hall meeting. We did complete the Christmas tree lighting ceremony on Monday in the cold. It was quite cold, not as cold as this morning, but quite cold. And at that, we always honor Brother Leo, who really had a love of the Christmas tree lighting celebration, but also a deep appreciation and love for international students and the way that they bring so much to the community. Last night, both Chris and I had the opportunity to attend the holiday concert put on by the music department, which showcased talent of many, many different students. And I will say that the groups, the different type of groups, really impress me every year. You know, everything from chorale to rock bands to mariachi, to jazz, and little interludes by different players of different instruments. It was really just a fabulous night. We really enjoyed it. And on Tuesday, we had indoor skating for students on staff in the recreation center. I must say, Chris and I were talking about this on the way over. The picture you're seeing, there is no ice there. It's some type of, I don't know, synthetic material that you can ice skate on, which is amazing to me. So anyway, lots of fun things going on. This week's Community Hour, which we have every Wednesday, featured a Brown Bag News Hour, Do-It-Yourself Stress Balls, Sustainability Club presented on biodiesel. It was really a great, and as every Wednesday is, a great time. And today, this evening, this afternoon, late afternoon and into the evening, we have the University Employee Christmas Party over in the Brother James Gaffney Center. For students tonight, there are multiple options in Charlie's Place, in the Flyers Den, with Sodexo doing an amazing job of bringing in external food vendors, as well as doing some creative and exciting new food opportunities for students that come from Sodexo. So we're really grateful. And I want to say, before the event happens, grateful for people in MAC, especially Lisa and her leadership, people at Sodexo, and everybody who makes Christmas celebration possible on campus. And then tomorrow is the Brothers Wine and Cheese Party for employees over at the Brothers residence, which is a long-standing 40-year almost tradition in which the brothers open up their house to celebrate the holidays. So tons going on, but yeah. Chris, you have some accolades to offer also.
Yeah, lots of other stuff going on. It's been an amazing week so far. I really loved that concert last night. So wonderful to see our students engaging and just showing off all the incredible talent that we have at Lewis University. So and we're going to talk about some more events coming up. But first, WLRA has officially started their annual 24-hour holiday music benefit. The Christmas Memories for You and Your Family broadcast benefits the United Way of Will County, advocating for health, safety, education, and self-sufficiency while lifting the entire community. Holiday music will be available to stream on WLRA until January 1st, 2025. So if you're looking for your Christmas or holiday fix of music, you can go to WLRA for that. A few things about athletics I want to talk about. The Lewis University Assistant Vice President John Ashley announced the hiring of Isaiah Gully to the Associate Athletic Director for External Relations. Gully joins Lewis after spending the last 3 years as the Assistant Athletic Director for Engagement and Development at fellow GLVC school, the University of Illinois Springfield. His first official day was Monday this week, so welcome, Isaiah. Final congratulations to Coach Evan Feifels and the men's soccer team, whose season came to an end in the first round of the NCAA tournament with a loss to Tiffin. The team won the GLVC tournament and reached the tournament for the second consecutive year. So another incredible year for men's soccer, and we offer our congratulations. Congratulations too to Coach James Kearney and the men's and women's cross-country teams who finished their seasons at the NCAA Nationals in Sacramento, November 23rd, where the women placed 6th and the men placed 12th in the country at the Nationals. For the women's team, that was the highest placement in Nationals since 1997. Wonderful accomplishment, and thanks again for everyone involved in those teams and all the teams that competed, who've now officially completed their fall season, with one exception, which we will talk about in a minute. The Lewis University Athletic Department was also honored by the NCAA, receiving the NCAA Division II President's Award for Academic Excellence, awarded to Division II schools that have achieved an academic success rate of 90% or higher. So both amazing success on the field and in the classroom for our student athletes. For the third consecutive year, Lewis University's accounting program participated in the Institute of Management Accountants annual Student Leadership Conference in early November that took place in Anaheim, California. Professors of accounting, Drs. Iyad Rock and Ting He, accompanied 6 students to the conference, which brought together students, professionals, and industry leaders from across the nation for an inspiring experience of networking, learning, and career development. Thank you to those professors and to everyone who made that really extensive trip for many students possible. The Senior Capstone Art Exhibition is now on display through December 15th in the Wadsworth Family Gallery. The exhibit features art from Lewis's own Bowie Downer and Matt Schreifer. The gallery is free and open to the public, as always, from 9 to 9. And the gallery talk and reception is tonight at 7. I look forward to going there after the Christmas party tonight. And we're kind of coming to the end of the semester with events as well. We have 2 weeks, well, really this week and next week for most events that impact the students in the community. And there's a lot more. So you're going to share a little bit.
I'll share a few things. There's a lot going on. As you say, students will start, many students, and we're going to talk more about commencement later, but many students will start leaving as they wrap up their finals, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. But we have a lot of events going on both this week and next week. So a few things. Both today, we have the Winter Wonderland Women in Business Club is hosting an event at 3, as well as a movie night with accessibility, and the Women in Aviation movie night. And as Chris mentioned, the show for the seniors is also tonight. So we have a fine arts recital, and Hall has the Jet Fuel Review karaoke is also there. In addition, next week we will have our community hour as normal, but there's also a COFAC recognition ceremony and a College of Business recognition ceremony. We were just talking about music, the Vocal Jazz and Harmonic Uprising concert this Sunday. And then also next week, we have the COES recognition ceremony, and St. Augustine has their holiday posada, which will be taking place next week on Thursday. And then, of course, commencement, next week on Friday, actually. Commencement will take place next Friday and Saturday. We also have athletic traveling that's going on. Women's volleyball tonight. They faced Rockhurst, and then that is the first round, as Chris was saying, the first round of the NCAA tournament. That happens up in Michigan. We also have men's and women's basketball will be at Lincoln in Jefferson City, Missouri, and then over the weekend also at University of Missouri St. Louis. Men's and women's track and field will be at the Holiday Open. It's amazing that, for some of those runners, They just went out to California, got 6th and 12th in the nation, and now they're running indoors, many of them running the mile or the 2 mile. So exciting for at the Grand Valley State Open. We will be looking forward to, in some sense, taking a little bit of break from most of our events, but many of our athletes continue to travel over the break. So exciting things going on campus. One of the most exciting things that we do every year, which we do twice a year, has to do with commencement. So Chris, you're going to introduce our guests, which will allow us to kind of celebrate our students and their accomplishments and completion of their degrees.
Yeah, I agree. Of all of these events, probably for most people in our community, the commencement is the culmination of it all and the highlight of the end of next week. So we're really excited to focus on it a little bit now. Before I begin, remember that you can ask a question of our guests by using the email that's on the screen. Ask us at lewisu.edu. And if you can do it live and get into the conversation right away, or if you are watching a recorded version of this, please also know that you can use it and we can forward on the question to our guests if we receive it. So we have over 1,000.
One quick other reminder.
Okay.
Ready. That we're on Facebook Live.
That's right.
Also this week for the first time. So an opportunity. So if you're watching it on another thing, but in the future, let's say you're watching this later, know that you can watch it on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Ask questions through Facebook Live. So
yeah, we're really excited to be expanding our ways that people are watching. So yes, we have over 1,000 students taking part in our December commencement next weekend, over all of the ceremonies, and we would like to focus today on the weekend and for the rest of the show with our 2 guests. So I'm really pleased to introduce both of them. I'll introduce both guests and then we'll start our conversation. So Leonimar Mapa and Dr. Kurt Schackmuth are our guests. Dr. Schackmuth is our Chief Mission Officer. Leo is a nursing major and president of the Men Entering Nursing Club, as well as an executive board member of the Student Nurses Association. He works at Loyola Medical Center in the cardiology unit, and when he is not working, he enjoys spending time with family and friends. On Monday night at the nursing recognition ceremony that I was privileged to attend, he received the Dean's Key Award. Now in his 27th year at Lewis University, Dr. Schackmuth is responsible for the campus-wide integration, animation, and advancement of the university's mission and values. He recently accepted a 3-year appointment as the North American Region Delegate to the International Council for Lasallian Association and Education Mission, also known as CML, in Rome, Italy. And as part of his portfolio of responsibilities, he coordinates commencement with an amazing group of over 100 colleagues here at Lewis each academic year. And as you can imagine, it's a very big undertaking, and we're so pleased with how it goes, and so have so much gratitude for all the people who work together to put it together. So welcome, Kurt, Leo. So glad you're with us.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
I know you're both really busy. It's the end of the semester, and also, I just said, you're planning this massive event for 1,000 people. So I appreciate your time. We appreciate your time. So maybe to begin with, we haven't really announced that yet. Could we go over the commencement schedule a little bit? I think we might have a slide to look at, or an image to look at with the schedule for the weekend.
Yeah, so December 13th and 14th, don't let Friday the 13th scare you when it comes to commencement. It's going to be
bringing that up. I hadn't thought of that.
It'll be a fantastic weekend. We made some changes to the schedule this year. So one of the things we've done is we've moved the commencement mass from the weekend before commencement to the Friday of commencement. And so as you can see on the screen there, the commencement mass is Friday, December 13th at noon in Sancta Alberta Chapel. And we begin our commencement celebration that weekend with the mass. And this is a mass that is put together in celebration of all the accomplishments of our graduates. It's an opportunity for family and friends, as well as faculty and staff members and current students, to come together and to celebrate the accomplishments of our graduates. And so that's at noon on the 13th. Father Paul will be our celebrant, and everybody is welcome to attend. The RSVP deadline is the 9th, so please use the link that you have, that you saw on the screen there, and let us know that you'll be there just so that we can plan ahead.
And if you go to the commencement part of the Lewis website, you can find that link easily.
Exactly,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
right. So then we begin the festivities this year at 3:30 in the afternoon. So our first ceremony, the undergraduate ceremony that will focus on the College of Business, the College of Education and Social Sciences, the College of Humanities, Fine Arts and Communications, and new this year, St. Augustine College graduates, will be at 3:30 on Friday the 13th. And during that ceremony, we'll also honor and recognize Father Dennis Holtschneider, and he is the President Emeritus of DePaul University, and he's the recently retired President of the Association of Catholic Colleges and Universities, which is based in Washington, D.C. And he's a good friend of Lewis and a good friend of Catholic higher education, so we're honored to put the spotlight on him that day. But the spotlight really goes on the graduates, and so we're excited to celebrate their accomplishments at that ceremony, of course. And then we'll continue later that day with the next ceremony, which will be at 7 o'clock. And at this ceremony, we'll celebrate our College of Nursing and Health Sciences graduates and our Aviation Science and Technology graduates. That evening, we also put a spotlight on 2 students in particular. One of those is our student Lasallian commencement speaker, Leo, and the other is our Father Aquinas Award presentation recipient, and that's Austin J. Kind. And so both of these students are from those colleges. Leo not only will present his address at this ceremony, but he'll present it at the earlier ceremony at 3:30 as well. And we can talk a little bit more about what that's about soon. The celebration continues on Saturday, 4 ceremonies. So the Saturday ceremony starts at 9 a.m. And this is when we'll honor our graduate
4 ceremonies
students.
total.
4 total, yes.
Yeah.
Our morning ceremony, yeah, don't scare you.
not on Saturday.
That's right. Saturday morning.
At 12:30 a.m.
Saturday morning on December 14th, our morning graduate degree ceremony, College of Nursing and Health Sciences, and our Aviation Science and Technology grads. And then the afternoon at 1 o'clock, our College of Education and Social Sciences students and our College of Business students.
So,
A busy weekend.
Yeah,
Chris
really,
said about 1,000 students. Are they more or less equally divided between these 4
Yes.
ceremonies?
Yes, and we do that very intentionally, because if we divide the graduates fairly evenly across the 4 ceremonies, that means we can maximize the number of tickets that the students can have for their guests. So all graduates at all the ceremonies will be able to invite 7 guests. And if there's a need for extra tickets, students can request those through the registrar's office and most likely get them.
Yeah, I think that's really important that there are limits. And I know all of our graduates have received many, many things. This is just one more way that we can communicate with them. But we do want our graduates to know that they do receive a certain number of tickets. They can't invite 27 friends unless they request extra tickets.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is a small question, but it comes up all the time and people ask me. I think when we were looking at the graphic, it said it was the 119th, 115th commencement ceremony, and I know that Lewis is not 115 years old. It's younger than that. So,
That's right.
So how do you count them?
I knew you were going to ask me this question as I was walking over here today. And the answer is that in the early days of the university, we only had 1 ceremony per year. And then gradually over time, we started to do 2 ceremonies per year, one in December and another one in May. And so we count each weekend separately. So that's how we
But
get
we
to
don't count
150.
4. We're not having
No.
4
No,
commencements this
It's-
weekend.
it's
We're having one.
So
one
technically,
ceremony
it's-
with multiple.
Yes,
I'm sorry,
it's one
answer.
commencement weekend with 4 degree ceremonies, if you want
There
to
we
get
go.
really
All
technical.
right, all right.
Thank you.
Very
Thanks
good,
for
very good.
clarifying that. Well, we're going to cut that snippet out and send it to people whenever they ask.
So you mentioned a lot of highlights, different speakers, opportunities. You've been doing these commencements for many years. Is there something that, I guess when commencement comes up, I'm sure there's a little bit, it's got to be, because you're responsible for it, there's got to be a little dread of oh my gosh, here it goes again. We got to get prepared. I got to organize these 100 people. We got to get all these things. Let's set that aside and tell me what you most love about commencement weekend.
Yeah, it's not dread, because that suggests something bad, but stress. It can be stressful because our commencement coordinating committee works really hard to make the event as awesome as possible, as perfect as possible, because we know how much our families and our students value this kind of culminating experience. And the thing that I like the most about commencement is that for me, it is an experience that best exemplifies the mission value of association. Faculty and staff coming together over the course of a student's tenure as a student. And then this is what it's all about. This is what we get to see happen. And it's really gratifying to see those students cross the stage, because we all know as employees that we worked really hard to make sure that those students were supported and had the resources to get across that stage. And so that makes it all worth it. At the end of the weekend, after all 4 of those ceremonies are done, the commencement coordinating committee comes together on the day after commencement, and we debrief, and we basically celebrate that we were able to put together a great experience for our graduates and their families.
Yeah,
It's wonderful to see at the ceremony, to see faculty there supporting the students that they know very well, or other professionals at Lewis who spend a lot of time with students, coaches, and others who might be there just because they have such a relationship. And it's also wonderful to see those 100 people. Some of those 100 people I mentioned in the intro are people who are, police officers, or people at events and conferences, or catering, and so on. And they all, with Kurt's great leadership, they have a community where they're really thinking that this is their way to play a part in that really important day in students' lives. And so it kind of elevates the passion, I think, for every little task that happens to make it work.
And we're all implying this, but just to say out loud how grateful we are to those 100 people.
Yes,
I think you said
yes.
that in your intro. But I especially think, there's everybody, regardless of what they're doing, but as you said, Chris, there's some of our police officers and campus safety officers who will be out in relatively cold,
Yes.
maybe very cold temperatures, making sure the cars get parked where they're supposed to get and people know where they're supposed to walk to. And that's a really cold job. Every time that I come in, it's mostly when I feel like I come in on Saturday in this case, because otherwise I'm already on campus in the morning. But when I drive in on Saturday and I'm coming in and I see people out there and they've been, directing cars already for 45 minutes and they'll be out there for 3 or 4 more hours. So we try to really be grateful for that.
LUPD and facilities do so much to make these events happen, and they oftentimes are behind the scenes in a way that we lose sight of them. But especially in May, facilities is wanting to make sure that the campus looks beautiful, because students and families spend a good hour after the ceremony on campus.
Taking
and
pictures.
even in December, we'll still see a lot of families hanging out at the encounter for photos, and facilities and LUPD really make things happen behind the scenes for us.
Yeah.
And as you said, depending on the weather, those 2 groups are really important in the December event as well.
Yeah.
So Leo, we have some questions for you now.
Yes.
We don't, Kurt, you can continue, and we'll get back to you. So just maybe to begin, tell us a little bit about how you discovered Lewis. Like, what was your entryway into becoming a Lewis student?
Yeah, so high school, I went to Lockport Township High School. Funny story, at first, I wanted to be a firefighter. And then I slowly changed. I was like, you know what, let me aim higher. So I wanted to be a doctor, so really aiming high. And then I took AP Physics in high school, and I was surrounded by a lot of smart people, and I was like, wow, maybe I'm not smart enough to be a doctor.
I thought you were going to say and then you decided to aim higher.
Be a nurse.
And be a
Not
nurse.
after that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no. But because there's a Filipino stereotype that a lot of Filipinos are nurses. I tried my best to stray away from that.
Interesting.
But my mom, because my mom's a nurse, a lot of my family is.
Oh, wow.
But they never really pushed nursing onto me. It kind of just was natural, because my mom would often share stories of her patients and the kind of impact that she had as a nurse on them. And that kind of as I was hearing those stories, it kind of made me want to be a nurse too, because it's such a fulfilling profession. And so very late into my senior year, I decided I'll probably go for nursing.
Wow.
And then so I was looking around, saw that Lewis is a very top nursing school in Illinois. I think a statistic that I heard last May is that there was 98% pass rate. So really high pass rate.
You might want to
And-
explain what that means. Like what?
Passing what?
Yeah, passing rate. So passing in school,
Not passing your classes.
No, passing the NCLEX, which is the nursing license test that
Yeah.
you take after you graduate. So Lewis is known for having a very high pass rate, and Lewis is also very close to home, and so very convenient for me. I'm from Crest Hill, so it's like 5 minutes away.
Wow.
Great.
But also a big part of why I chose Lewis too, not just because of nursing, but also I'm in ROTC, and I was given a full ride scholarship to attend here at Lewis, and the ROTC scholarship covers tuition, all of tuition. They give me a stipend every month. They pay for all my books, and they pay for all my clinical supplies, and they just basically give me everything I need to succeed in school. And
awesome.
And the great thing about Lewis too is that it is a yellow ribbon school. So if you are a veteran or in ROTC, you get free room and board. And so going to Lewis was a no-brainer to get both full tuition and room and board for free. So that's why I chose Lewis.
So tell me, give a little bit more background for people that aren't aware, because this is so. How does one? So you're sitting there in high school. Did you know you wanted to be an ROTC? Did somebody come to the school? What was kind of? I mean, I'm interested in both how you chose that. Obviously, all the things you just went through in terms of all the benefits are clear. But then also, I guess for me, what is ROTC? Because I'm not sure everybody on here necessarily understands what that is.
Yeah, not a lot of people talk about it. Growing up, I wanted to serve. I knew I wanted to serve.
Okay.
And I was one of the JROTC nerds in high school. I don't know if you guys know about the stereotypes.
No.
No? They say like JROTC kids are kind of nerdy. But JROTC is very different from ROTC in college. But JROTC in high school, we kind of like their curriculum, their programs more like developing citizens, like better citizens, not necessarily serving the country. So I did JROTC in high school. And through my time in JROTC, I learned more about the military, and I honestly did not know about ROTC until like later into my junior or senior year of high school. One of the, I forgot who exactly it was, but they told me about ROTC and how like, oh, if you want to become an officer, which is what ROTC is about, it's a very good path to go through, especially as a nurse, because officers in the military have bachelor's degrees. And to be a nurse, you need a bachelor's degree. So to transition about what ROTC is, basically it is a military program you are part of in college, and you simultaneously obtain your degree. And as you're obtaining your degree, you get experience in leading, developing yourself as a person, your character, and you get physical training, and you learn basic marksmanship, infantry tactics. And as you complete college and you get through the ROTC program, you commission in the United States Army as a second lieutenant, which is a little bit different from enlisting. So a lot of people also have a misconception of what like enlisting is versus being an officer, because people like would ask me like, hey, when are you enlisting? I'm like, oh, it's a little different.
It's like kind of built into the process.
Yeah, exactly. So the way I like to explain it, so I believe everyone in the military are leaders, but officers are the leaders of the leaders. So officers, like you heard of the ranks like lieutenants, captain, majors, generals. So officers do a lot of the planning of missions and kind of like managing groups of soldiers, like in the platoon level, brigade level. But enlisted folk are more focused on executing these missions and tasks at hand. So both enlisted and officers play a role in that kind of thing.
So tell me a little bit about your nursing experience at Lewis. You talked to me a little bit about, I mean, you said, I heard that it was this great program, it had this great passing rate, but you know, passing is just part of it. We want that whole 4 years, especially for the 2.5 years of really intense nursing. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my nursing experience here at Lewis has been nothing but exceptional. I feel like for people that want to do nursing, a lot of what it comes down to is ultimately wanting to help people. And throughout my nursing program experience in clinical setting, I feel like I found more reasons to continue pursuing this profession through my experience with compassionate, awesome nurses, and along with like the feeling of just being able to provide care to patients when they're at their most hardest times in the hospital. Because it's not fun being in a hospital, but it's really fulfilling to be able to do your best and take care of those that are really going through it. And especially as a male too in nursing, a common question I get all the time is, "Oh, you're a nurse? Like, why aren't you a doctor?" It's kind of nice to be able to break that stigma as well. And Lewis does a great job of supporting males in nursing, because I'm the president of the med intern nursing organization at Lewis.
So what is that percentage nationwide, Leo? I mean, or maybe you don't need to know the exact numbers,
stats,
but
yeah.
I mean, do you, not exact stats, but is it, because when you say that, I guess there's a stereotype, but do people, like, I don't know that I know, is it, and I'm looking for broad numbers.
Yeah.
It's not 50-50, because otherwise it wouldn't be an issue, right?
I want to say like 10-15%. Actually, in these past couple years, ever since the 2000s, I think I saw a statistic somewhere that it's increased by like 3 times the amount of males in nursing.
Okay.
And I think that's awesome because kind of breaks that stigma of only males are doctors, or breaking that kind of stigma because as important as doctors are, they have a great job. But I feel like nurses have, if you really like taking care of people and like developing a relationship with patients, I would say nursing is the career to go. I'm not saying that doctors don't do that, but nurses spend more time with patients.
Yeah, that's great.
Could you tell us a little bit about your placement experience, or or really even to back up a little bit? Some people watching might just be going like, "What do you really do when you're a nursing major? Like when do you start going into to hospitals or clinical sites?"
Right. So at Lewis, so you take your prereqs like your anatomy, physiology, microbiome, your freshman and sophomore year. Second semester of your sophomore year, that's when you start the actual nursing program. And then your first semester of nursing school, it's kind of, you're put in hospitals. Some hospitals that we were in are Silver Cross, which is in New Lenox, Advocate Christ Medical Center, which is in Oak Lawn. And the first semester, it's kind of observatory. You're like kind of not doing full nurse things yet. You're kind of doing basic stuff like taking vital signs, helping patients go to the bathroom, changing them when they go to the bathroom. And then the curriculum kind of builds on itself. Like every semester will build new skills. So your junior year, then you'll start to learn more about medications. And then you'll start to pass medications with the help of nurses around you in clinical. And then you start to specialize, or you start to go in other specialties. So after junior year, you get to see what it's like to become a peds nurse, get to see labor delivery. So I had the opportunity to see a couple live births and C-sections, which are crazy. And then after you see some specialties, you finish out senior year in critical care. So I happen to be at Advocate Christ Medical Center, which is an awesome hospital, level 1 trauma center. And I went to units such as the ER, the CV ICU, the neuro ICU. And then your last 8 weeks of school, you go through what's called role transition. And it kind of switches from you following around a nurse and kind of helping them out to where now you're the nurse and your preceptor is taking on, you're taking on the patient load. And I had the opportunity to go to Silver Cross for my role transition clinical. And it was really nice because my first clinical ever was at Silver Cross, and then I ended at the same exact unit that I started off at. And so it was really cool.
And you had learned so much in that time,
exactly.
I'm sure.
It's crazy how much you can learn in 2 years and how
Yeah.
you can develop. I think Lewis has really good clinical placements, and the faculty and staff, they're amazing. Like, they've been so helpful along the way.
I love that design too. I know it's not unique to Lewis exactly, but having a little, it's just so carefully designed in terms of having a little exposure and then a little bit more, and then special, you learn all the different specializations, and then you kind of take control. But that first part when you're a sophomore is so important, because I imagine, and I know this is true in most professional training programs that we have, where sometimes that's the first time, somebody wants to be a nurse, or they want to be a teacher or a counselor or something, and they've never actually been in a hospital.
Right. Exactly,
and so for some people, it's a little shocking. Like, oh, this is what this is like.
Yeah.
And,
Going
I think we have all of those. We have teachers who
Yeah.
go into a third grade class and are like, I never want to be a
Yeah.
teacher. We have
Seriously.
pilots who get in a plane and are
Right.
like, I don't want to be
No.
a pilot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm sure we have nurses who get in and they're like,
Wait a
ooh,
minute.
this is not for me.
No,
Yeah.
no. Honestly, you find out your sophomore year, like whether or not like nursing is for you. And honestly, like Lewis does a really good job of like slowly, like developing you as a nurse. Because honestly, going into my sophomore like semester, I barely knew what a nurse did.
Yeah.
And like I just knew that they help people.
And your mom did it.
And my mom did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so like they really like in the clinical setting, you really learn what nurses really do. And like, and the nurses I worked with are also compassionate. They've been so caring for their patients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, without giving it all away, part of the reason you're here is because you're going to be offering your fellow students who are graduating this weekend at commencement some thoughts. So, maybe you could talk a little bit about more the process of how you kind of apply, and what in your head was like, I think I have something to give back to my fellow students in terms of some thoughts.
Like for like the becoming the speaker?
Yeah, the speaker. Yeah.
Yeah,
How you became the speaker, how you even knew. Like, I guess for some
maybe,
future
I feel
students,
like
how does one
I-
even figure out that I could do
I feel
that?
like I wasn't clear about this in the introduction.
Yeah.
So Leo is the Lasallian commencement
Exactly.
speaker.
Yeah.
Point one.
Point one.
Which I did not make clearly before. And then maybe real fast, Kurt, could you just explain what is the Lasallian commencement speaker?
Yeah, so the Lasallian student commencement speaker is an undergraduate student who is selected through a nomination process and a fairly rigorous interview process, whereby they tell the interviewing committee what about their Lewis experience and the mission of this institution really came together, and how was Lasallian mission experienced in your nursing experience or in your aviation experience or whatever your major. And it's a really hard process.
So getting nominated is the easy part?
So, yeah, faculty and staff recommend students. They,
Yeah,
they look at a
right.
list of students that meet the criteria. They recommend students. The Mission Recognition and Awards Committee, which is chaired by Margaret Martinez, our Director of Mission Ministry, they invite students to apply. They have to write essay questions, submit a resume, fill out an application, and then this committee distills the number down to a manageable number. They invite them for interviews. The students come in and they're part of interviews. They answer lots of questions. They have really good conversation about the ways the mission and their major or their curriculum or their experience at Lewis came together. And then they have the really, really hard job of choosing a student. And this year, the committee chose Leo.
And so Leo, going back to the question, like what was the experience like for you?
So it was like middle of October. I actually got the notification, the email, that I was chosen to be the speaker in the middle of clinical. I was at Christ, and I was in the bathroom. I was like, oh gosh, oh wow, this is crazy. So first, I felt really blessed and honored to have been chosen in the first place. When it came to the interview process and like answering the questions, I thought it was gonna be a lot harder than it seemed, but luckily, I've had the privilege of having a lot of opportunities and unique experiences at Lewis. So it made it kind of easy to answer the interview questions because Lewis has provided me with such unique opportunities that I wouldn't have been able to get elsewhere. Right. Like I had an internship at Washington, D.C. in the Walter Reed Medical Center, which is known as the President's Hospital. I was heavily involved on campus, like being the president of 2 organizations, being an academic tutor, and then starting up the what's called the Anatomy and Physiology Study Table. So I had a lot to work with, luckily.
Not luckily.
No, a lot of your initiative.
Appreciate it. But when it came down to the actual interview, I remember being super scared because it was really intimidating. There was like 8 people interviewing me. And I had no idea what the kind of questions they were going to ask. But it seems like I did well enough to get selected for it. And then when I heard back that I actually was selected for it by Margaret Martinez, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. Yeah.
That's great.
And the second thought was like, wow, now I got to get started on this speech.
Now I gotta write something.
I got to get started on this speech. Yeah, truly an
great.
honor and a unique opportunity to be selected for it.
Well deserved. We have a question from
Sure.
the email. Leo, what are you looking forward to the most after graduation, aside from starting your career?
That's a really good question. Honestly, it's probably spending more time with friends and family. Nursing school was tough in the sense that you don't really have much time, and you have to really find out what your priorities are in life, and some things kind of lack. Not gonna lie, this is gonna expose me, but my first semester in nursing school, I gained like 15 pounds of weight because I was not handling the stress very well.
Stress related,
But as I know a couple of people that have graduated last May, and they say one of the things that they enjoy being out of school was having more time to actually do their hobbies, spend time with family. So I'm excited for that.
Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
So I have a question. So I'm really looking forward to Father Holschneider's speech on 3:30 on Friday. But both of you are actually giving a speech this weekend.
Oh, yes.
Both of you.
Yes,
two of you.
yes.
So, and we don't want to give away too much, but do you want to give us any little highlights that we might look forward to?
Without spoiling my speech, I kind of just want to share my story and hopefully inspire those that may have a similar story as me, similar background. I want to inspire my fellow graduates, people that are soon to be graduating, or even the freshmen that are watching, that it doesn't matter where you come from. If you put in the work and you persevere, you are able to achieve your dreams and goals.
That's awesome. And do you want to give away anything, President Livingston?
You know,
or do you know what it's?
written.
I was just going to say. I know him. He
Question
may
is,
not
does
know
he
what
have
it
any
says.
idea what he's going to say? The answer is, I've been I read a lot. One of the books that I recently read, which is called Range, has really inspired me. So it's about a little bit of a critique of specialization. So, this kind of 10,000 hours, you got to start at 4 years old if you're going to be any good at anything. That whole industry, this author Epstein really takes it to task, and really, I think it's a liberal arts kind of vision. The best thing you can do for yourself is have a wide range of experiences, doing all sorts of things in your life. Not only does it make you more satisfied as a human being, but it actually makes you better as a leader, and so I'm going to talk a little bit about, leaving and in some sense maybe taking advantage of some of that extra time and doing some of the things that you also love and getting deeply into them and enjoying them, and really taking the Lewis education as the foundation that allows you to learn about music and art and mathematics and other things, because I think it's possible.
It's wonderful.
So that's the
awesome.
base.
I can't wait for both. And Kurt, I feel like maybe you said this or maybe not, but I was thinking about it when Leo was talking about who might be hearing the speech. We are broadcasting it live, yes?
Yes, it'll be streamed live.
Thanks to our wonderful colleagues here in the communications department. And so there can be people, we talked about tickets before, so there
Right.
will be available to be watched by many, many, many more people.
Yeah, so an invitation, I think your point is, invitation to our 1,000 graduates to say, email your friends and say, you can watch this at 3:30 on live streamed.
Yeah, lewisu.edu, and there'll be a link on the homepage that will take you to the commencement page, which includes the details about each of the ceremonies, as well as a link directly to the live stream that our great people here are taking care of for us.
All right.
Well, thank you both so much
Thank
for
you.
joining
Yeah,
us
glad
today.
to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I
Looking
really
forward to
appreciate
it
it. And
next week.
congratulations again, Leo.
Thank you.
Not only on getting through the nursing program, getting through the Lewis degree, but also and being honored as the Lasallian speaker. We really appreciate it. Well, everyone, it's the end not only of our show today, but of our fall season. So we will not be back until January 23rd with the start of our spring semester and our spring season of Conversations from Stritch. I wish you just an incredibly joyous holiday season filled with time with family and friends, hopefully a lot of laughter, some games, and some relaxation. I wish all of you a blessed Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I look forward to seeing you in 2025. Many blessings to you and all those that you love.